Now, hip abduction is a very good exercise for runners and people who have got what we call a Trendelenburg. It applies to just about anybody who's walking up and down stairs, getting up and down out of a chair or running. What Andy's doing here is putting the sling high enough to get a little bit of hip abduction, and then Vanessa pushes down in the slings and the hips come up, and we get a nice intersection at the pelvis and lower back, where all the muscles are actually stabilizing the core. They're giving her a nice stable core with a hip abduction beneath the core. She's holding that quite nicely, and then she lowers down. You see that hip adduction, and you see her open up on the underside in the back. Now, to offload that, and that's very necessary here, if you really want to train the hip abductors without getting any compensation by the big back muscles, and that happens all too often when people are in the side plank, you need to offload. So we get motor control occurring at the hip abductor muscles specifically, and we neutralize the erector spinae and quadratus lumborum in particular that tend to compensate. People's running action does not improve if they're running from side to side with quadratus lumborum. You really want the hip abductors working. So glute medius, glute minimus, glute max with TFL down the iliotibial band. Terrific for runner's knee. Terrific for people who think or have pseudo pronating feet. It's actually the hip that's the problem. So now Andy's fine motor controlling the pelvis, and Vanessa's doing that by using the hip abductors on the leg on the bottom, and she lifts the top leg in order to take away the assistance from the adductors. She's got very good form here. Short lever arm at the knee. If we want to make it more difficult and even more relevant for a runner, we actually just slip that bottom sling down towards the ankle. Now, you don't want to use a small sling here. It digs into the lower leg, plus or minus the peroneal nerve. You really need to have a broad sling here that's quite comfortable. And again, even with a long lever arm, Vanessa's doing this quite successfully. Andy's controlling for trunk rotation forwards and backwards. If Vanessa has a tendency to lean forwards, Andy tweaks the elastic on the back and turns her into a little bit of rotation there. Gets her in the right position. So the elastics are fine-tuning the core stability, and the bottom leg is pushing down into hip abduction. Good control there. Well done. So Andy's going to increase the difficulty here by taking away the support. So he's slowly taking away the elastics that are lifting the pelvis up, and Vanessa has to react to that. She's using a lot of proprioceptive feedback through the iliotibial band and through the glutes and through the lower back, and saying to the muscles, you guys need to start working now. Ideally, that movement does not come from the back. It comes from the abductor muscles or myofascial chains.